It's Friday, November 1, 2019, and this is Globespan 24x7 News. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. My name is Samuel Signandon, coming to you live from Georgetown, Guyana. Here are the major headlines for today. APNU+AFC confident of winning 36 seats in 2020 general elections. BLAIRMONT workers stage another protest calling for pay increases. A Japanese-funded agro-processing center commissioned in Region 6. Agro-tourism expo shines new light on Guyana's potential in agriculture. And Victoria Village set to observe 180th anniversary in grand style. Over to you, Whitney.
Thank you, Samuel. Good evening, and now for a look at the headlines in the diaspora, the region, and around the world. Guyana signs on to Regional Strategic Action Plan for the water sector. Trinidad's private sector not competitive enough, according to Director of the TTMA. Jamaica midfielder killed in a stabbing incident. Presidential hopeful Elizabeth Warner shares detail for Healthcare Plan 2020 and $5 million threatened by toxic air in New Delhi. These stories and more in a short while. And now, sport headlines with Kingsley Bryan.
Thanks, Whitney. In the sports news tonight, U.S. pair to compete in Terrence Alley National Open from tonight. And last, Windies players leave for a tough Afghanistan series. And internationally, Svitolina beats Sophia Kenin to maintain her 100% record in Shenzhen. Back to you, Samuel.
Thanks, Kingsley. And now for a look at the news. Police Commissioner Leslie James has disclosed that the government has hired an international organization to investigate former Lines of Change AFC parliamentarian Charandas Prasad. The top cop confirmed that the agency has taken over the investigation from the police with regards to allegations of bribery. I can safely say to you that that is ongoing, James told the media at the sidelines of an event today. The force was investigating allegations of bribery and movement of gold by Prasad after he voted in favor of a no-confidence motion which toppled the coalition government. Prasad, with the assistance of the Canadian High Commission, departed Guyana after the vote. He claimed that he felt that his life was under threat due to his decision. Meanwhile, the Partnership for National Unity, APNU, and the Alliance for Change, AFC, joined forces back in 2015 to contest the general elections, and to the surprise of many, they won that election with President David Granger leading the pack and supported by AFC's Moses Nagamutu. The coalition secured 207,200 votes to the People's Progressive Party Civic, PPPC's 202,694 votes to win both the presidency and control over the 65-seat National Assembly. The alliance won only by 4,506 votes. The coalition took control of 33 seats in the National Assembly, while the PPPC secured the remaining 32. However, almost 5 years later, the AFC is now showing a decline in its support, and that was substantiated based on the results of the last local government elections, when it contested separately from the APNU. Many persons have also casted doubt on the AFC managing to win enough seats as it did back in 2011. But President David Granger is of the firm view that the coalition could win as much as 36 seats this time around.
We have done our calculations, and we are confident that we wouldn't be winning with a one-seat majority. It would be a much larger majority. We are turning out more voters. We are mobilizing on the ground. And based on our record, we are convinced that we'll have a clear majority as a coalition. We are going in as a coalition. We're better together. We're stronger together.
At 74, President Granger has also been faced with some health issues. About 1 year ago, he was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin lymphoma, a type of cancer that develops in the network of vessels and glands spread throughout the body. Asked during an exclusive interview with Kaicho Radio whether he feels he is fit to run again for office and could serve another term in government, the president responded in the positive.
Of course, it's a pity I only have 2 terms.
You could do more?
Yeah, I could do more. As I pointed out, I have come to this position with experience, with great in 4 different fields. My recollection is that Dr. Jagan was older than me when he became president. not that I compare my performance with him. Mrs. Janet Jagan was older than me. She was born in 1920 when she became president. She must have been 78 or 79. I am strong enough. I am supported by a good team. I have built a strong coalition. And I feel very strong now. And I'm going into the campaign. And all the reports from my hospital, from my doctors, suggest that I'll be strong enough, not only for the campaign, but for the next 5 years.
President Granges said since the APNU+AFC coalition took office in May 2015, there have been transformational changes in the infrastructure, education, health, agriculture, and local government sectors, among others. With first oil months away, he noted too that the oil and gas sector has been taking shape. He said that the APNU+AFC coalition will win the next general and regional elections, stating that his government's track record will act in its favor. The coalition has already named him as the presidential candidate, but talks with the AFC are still ongoing with the aim of finding a prime ministerial candidate. And in other news, several workers attached to the BLAIRMONT estate downed tools today and took process action as they called on the management of the Guyana Sugar Corporation and the government to ensure that they receive a pay rise. Here's the detail in this report.
The Ghana Agricultural and General Workers Union, GAWU, is maintaining that sugar workers' wages have remained frozen essentially at 2014 levels, and they continue to be burdened by the heavy increases in the cost of living. As such, workers staged a picketing exercise outside the BLAIRMONT State Administrative Office today to get that message home to government and the Guyana Sugar Corporation, GUYSUCO. The activity saw workers from many sections of the estate taking part, as they called, in a united voice for fair treatment and equity to be shown to them. The workers believe they are the only ones working under the state whose pay levels remain stagnated. During the picketing exercise, the workers said that the denial of pay increases and suspension and ignoring of other long-standing benefits have hurt them and their families greatly. They said that they continue to work hard, and yet for their best efforts, there is really no reward. Further, workers said they were upset to have learned that GUYSUCO earlier this week decided to abandon a planned engagement after delegations from the GAWU and the NASI attached to their clothing slogans calling for a pay rise. They felt that the corporation's actions were uncalled for, and the unions were merely expressing the views of the workers in a peaceful and sincere manner. They felt that the actions of the state-owned sugar company were high-handed and was intended to shut down the legitimate views of the thousands. Today's activity followed a vigil activity last evening, October 31, held outside of the estate's office. The picketing exercise saw a number of workers taking part as they again called for a pay rise, which they feel should be granted now. The workers, together with the union, continues to reiterate calls for an end to the discriminatory treatment meted out to them as they seek the authorities to do what is right and approve a pay rise. For Globespan 24x7 News, Kingsley Bryan.
Thanks, Kingsley. Meanwhile, the Guyana Agricultural and General Workers Union, GAWU, says that it has been advised through a memorandum dated October 29, 2019, that the Guyana Sugar Corporation, GUYSUCO, has decided to extend the ongoing sugar production or sugar crop to the week ending December 20, 2019. GAWU had said in a statement on October 25 that the corporation could not have realized its production target by the time the crop was set to end, and the target may not be realized at Albion and BLAIRMONT sugar estates. GUYSUCO said that there is the possibility of some estates carrying over canes into the first crop for 2020. Open quote. It seems to say from our point of view that the sugar company is anticipating that not all of the canes would be harvested and thus the crop target will be missed. Time, of course, will ultimately answer this question, GAWU said in a statement today. The memorandum pointed out, too, that the company expects to see the attendance sustained. This, the union said, is admission that the workers are turning out in acceptable levels on a daily basis. The GAWU therefore maintains that the main issue has been the functioning of the industry's factories. Through the memorandum, the corporation has communicated that it has decided to reduce weekly production targets with effect from week ending November 9, 2019. The targeted Albion will move from 2,140 tons to 2,076 tons, BLAIRMONT from 1,275 tons to 1,237 tons, and IFLAT from 1,100 tons to 1,067 tons. Approximately 400 residents of KUMU, a satellite community of St. Ignatius Village in Region 9, will have better access to healthcare as well as additional support to cultural diversity following the commissioning of an $8 million multi-purpose center there. The center, which was commissioned on Wednesday, was funded by the Japanese government and executed by Special Needs for Life, the Department of Public Information (DPI) reported. Delivering the feature address, Vice President and Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, Sidney Alicockin, thanking the people of Japan for this welcomed investment, noted that it is of great importance that the facilities come at a time when the needs for indigenous development is crucial for the future. Representative of the Japanese Embassy, Tushishide Kanyana, said his government is pleased to be associated with this initiative since the center will have various functions as it serve as a health facility and want to promote and preserve the indigenous culture, which is an essential part of community life. The project commenced in 2018 with skilled work being taken or garnered from the village. Also attending the commissioning were Permanent Secretary Sherry Samantha Fede and Community Development Officer Vincent Henry, who has responsibility for villages located in central Rupununi. The Agro-Tourism Expo got underway last evening at the Arthur Chang Convention Center, with exhibitors from all across Ghana displaying what Ghana has to offer the world as it relates to this sector. The expo continued on Friday, and Globespan 24x7 interacted with some of the exhibitors to better understand their products and challenges. More in this Kingsley Bryan report.
Following the official launch of the exposition on Thursday evening, exhibitors once again assembled at the Arthur Chang Convention Center to interact with the visiting public. Convener of the event, Donald Sinclair, relayed that this year's event is not one to be missed.
Big things downstairs and very creative products out there. This is not something to be missed. For example, tomorrow, Saturday, we have two of our foremost designers, Sonia Noel and Carl Fraser, having a fashion display. That is Saturday night. But Friday and Saturday, a wide range of products, agricultural products, arts, crafts, jewelry, and so on. This is the place to be, Friday and Saturday.
Indeed, the Arthur Chang Convention Center is a hype of activity, resembling a large market day activity with its Guyanese flair and style. There were several booths on display, all offering a variety of products that were produced locally by Guyanese. Speaking with some of the exhibitors, Globespan 24x7 News was able to get a better understanding of what is being offered.
We planned on promoting the coconut industry, right? So we're starting from the initial stages of the farm. You don't want to plant a random coconut tree anymore without knowing its variety, its potential yield. Just like any crop you plant, you look for the best, the sweetest, the biggest, right? So the same principle applied to the coconut tree. So we have promoting coconut seedling nurseries, where you go through a process of selection to get the best coconut plants, right?
The booths were well decorated, and the exhibitors all had a variety of products to showcase that were produced and packaged in Guyana, some in the most ingenious and creative of ways. The expo is open to the public and will conclude on Saturday with a packed program planned for the culmination. For Globespan 24x7 News, this is Kingsley Bryan.
A 22-year-old man from Central Amelia's Ward Linden was today charged with attempted murder committed on Tion Allen at the Penitence Georgetown, committed on October 5, 2019. LaShawn John Lewis appeared at Georgetown Magistrates Court No. 1 before Chief Magistrate Anne McLennan and was remanded to prison. The matter was then adjourned to November 4 for report. Allen sustained 2 gunshot wounds during a shootout with Lewis at the Penitence Market, Georgetown, in the vicinity of Twins Pharmacy. The shooting happened at around 12 hours 50 on that day in question. According to reports, the victim and 2 other men exited a car that was parked in front of Twins Pharmacy and started shooting at a man who was walking on the road. Allen ran for his life while the 3 shooters continued discharging rounds at him. He ended up falling to the ground due to the severity of the injuries he sustained during the incident. The Ministry of Public Security has declared Sunday, November 10, 2019, a public holiday in observance of Yom HaNabi celebrations. As Yom HaNabi falls on Sunday, the following day, Monday, November 11, 2019, is declared a public holiday. Yom HaNabi is the celebration of the birthday of the Prophet Muhammad, the founding prophet of Islam. Remember to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest news in Guyana, the Caribbean, and around the world. Coming up on the other side of the break, man who confessed the murder of BERBICE fishermen remanded, and Victoria Village set to observe 180th anniversary in grand style. Stay with us.
Amros Travel Service is an IATA certified travel agency located in Trinidad and Tobago. We offer travel solutions for companies, individuals, and groups, including airfare, tours, packages, hotel accommodations, cruises, car rentals, honeymoon vacation, and much, much more. Our travel professionals are on call, ready and able to assist you with all your travel needs. Need to book that flight right now? Give us a call. Shagwan us at 1-868-653383. Valpark at 1-868-645-1604. Port of Spain at 1-868-625-0800. Or San Fernando at 1-868-652-4789. Remember, when you travel, Amros is the way to go.
Thanks for staying with us. Lennox Grimman called Breeze 38, a fisherman of Cromarty Farm, currently in BERBICE, was today charged with murder committed on Lamar, Petri, Kewal, Kisoon, Vishnu Siram, and Marvin Tamisar, which occurred in the Currentine River, BERBICE, between October 5, 2019 and October 13, 2019. Charge laid on the Section 7 of the Hijacking and Piracy Act, Chapter 1008, and he appeared at the Albion Magistrates Court before Renita Singh, where he was not required to plead to the charge and was remanded to prison. The matter was transferred to WIM Magistrates Court on November 7 for report. On October 5, the fishermen left a wharf at number 65 Village to sea aboard Sarah 1, a fishing vessel owned by Sharonand Rabindranath of number 68 Village, Quarantine. 2 bodies were subsequently found. 2 are yet to be located. Later, Kewal Kisoon called Ajay of Letterkenny, Quarantine, BERBICE, and 20-year-old Otto Lamar Petrie of Miss Phoebe Village, Port Moran, BERBICE. The other 2 fishermen are Marvin Tamisar, also called Buddy, and Bin Laden, 20 of Miss Phoebe Village, and Vishnu Siram, called Kevin, 20 of the same village. The pirates beat, chopped, and bound the men before throwing them overboard and escaping with their catch and boat engine. Anyone with information that may lead to the arrest of Fraser or Budraj who are wanted in connection with this crime are asked to contact 911 or the nearest police station. Outstanding performers from all education districts for NGSA, CSEC, CAPE, CPC, and TVET institutions such as the Carnegie School of Home Economics and the Government Technical Institute were yesterday honored at the National Award Ceremony hosted by the Ministry of Education on Thursday. Here's that report.
This is the 23rd such ceremony held to celebrate the accomplishments of students, along with their teachers and parents, and students from as far as Region 2 and 9 were among the dozens honored. Education Minister Dr. Nicolette Henry explained that this year's performance is testimony to the deliberate investments in education by the government to improve the sector.
Our job at the Ministry of Education is to create opportunities across our education system to develop every student to reach their full potential. And that is not only providing education or quality education for a few students at our more prestigious schools, but rather creating opportunities for every child in Guyana. I know this is not easy because it requires a lot of dedication and commitment from all of us to achieve that. Creating opportunities, I believe, is very important for us to groom young Guyanese so that we can secure the future of Guyana.
Chief Education Officer Dr. Marcel Hudson noted that the educational achievements made by junior secondary schools this year are a testimony that the interventions are paying off.
I say junior high schools because we have seen a pattern in the change as to the performance of our children in school. There was a time when the names of the Queenstowns, the Lodge, the Kingston, all those different schools, you may not have heard their names in terms of excellence. But that has changed and will continue to change as we apply ourselves to improving the education system.
Meanwhile, Acting Deputy Chief Education Officer Administration Ingrid Trotman said that the goal of the ministry is to provide affordable, accessible, and quality education for all.
Our core values of excellence, innovation, collaboration, and accountability are foundation of our commitment to help you, the awardees, grow intellectually, personally, professionally, as well as culturally. We are committed to serving you in a manner that challenges you to learn and achieve while supporting and strengthening your ability and capacity to do great things. We are thankful for your confidence in the Ministry of Education, and we pledge to justify that confidence as you continue your education at the tertiary level.
Guyana has achieved the highest pass rate at the CEC level in the Caribbean and Guyana's history. The Caribbean Examination Council has invited 4 students to Grenada to receive awards for best overall performance in the Caribbean in several subject areas. Guyana is set to receive the award for the best school at this year's CSEC examinations due to top CSEC student Rihanna Tony's performance. For Globespan 24x7 News, this is Kingsley Bryan.
Thanks, Kingsley. Added to this year's calendar of events for the celebration of Agriculture Month 2019 was the Agro-Tourism Business Forum. The intended purpose of the forum is to facilitate an atmosphere for discussions on creating a robust and competitive agro-tourism sector in Guyana. Convener of the event, Donald Sinclair, gave a brief overview of the forum on the sidelines of the event in an exclusive with Globespan 24x7 News.
Today we have the Agri-Tourism Business Forum, where we're going to be looking at the issues related to the development of an agri-tourism sector. We have some high-profile speakers.
Sinclair further went on to note that while they are still working on having the 2 separate sectors of agriculture and tourism conjoined, he is optimistic that in the future it will become a viable industry given Guyana's own geography.
What we're trying to do now is to make this link between agriculture and tourism, to base more tourism upon agriculture, encouraging more visits to farms, more visits to production centers, encouraging, for example, more consumption of natural foods, organic foods, more local produce, as all part of the, for example, animal farms, where animals are reared, as all part of the agri-tourism venture. So we're making this link now, and we're hoping that from this we could devise a strategy for growing the agri-tourism sector.
Meanwhile, in her remarks, Assistant Commissioner of Agriculture in the U.S. Virgin Islands, Diana Collingwood, welcomed the ability to network on this agenda. She posited that the Caribbean region has already been blessed with the necessary traits to fulfill an agricultural agenda, but greater collaboration is needed to advance the initiatives being proposed.
At this point in our lives, agriculture is a way to build sustainability and economic independence for our community. We really want to work with the CARICOM nations in general to build capacity, to collaborate, to share knowledge, to work in engaging youth, to set a standard in agriculture that young people can emulate so they can see the potential for success and development and a future in agriculture. Once you have food, you have the power. You know, they used to say, he who has the gold rules. You can't eat gold. He who has the food rules.
Collingwood concluded that it is her hope to see the creation of an entity that allows for agricultural trade between the U.S. Virgin Islands and CARICOM states, stating that this may be the last chance for the Caribbean region to regain what was lost. In his remarks to those gathered, country representative of the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation and Agriculture, ICA, Wilmot Garnett, said, while the concept is new, there must be an environment of mutual trust for it to be successful.
We are cognizant that the issue of finance remains a principal concern, but for money to flow into the agritourism sector, financiers and entrepreneurs involved in the production, post-harvest, handling, agro-processing, distribution, etc. along the value chain will have to learn a lot more about each other and develop an agenda of mutual trust.
Several local agro-processors and other relevant stakeholders to the industry are participating in the Agro-Tourism Business Forum. The village of Victoria on the east coast of Demerara will be celebrating its 180th anniversary in grand style. This year, the villages that were first bought by slaves will together celebrate their independent status as one in a major celebration. The details in this report.
The event is slated for November 9, 2019. This year's anniversary celebration differs from those held in previous years, given that the other villages that were bought by free slaves will join hands with the Victoria Youth Development Organization in their observance of these anniversaries. Chairman of the Planning Committee for the government side, Attorney General Basil Williams, at a press conference on Friday at the Chambers, detailed the intention behind these celebrations.
This year, we will be collaborating with the Victoria Youth Development Organization to celebrate National Day of Villages on November 9th in the observance of the 180th village anniversary.
The event is being held under the theme, Magnifying Our African Ancestry, Celebrating Our Cultural Diversity. Minister Williams said these observances should prompt general reflection.
The village movement is a very important ingredient for the development of Ghana. I would use this platform to urge Guyanese citizens to recapture that spirit of cooperation which existed among their forefathers. This event, the National Day of Villages, should be seen as a catalyst to reflect on their role in the reunification, encouraging entrepreneurship and force for development within their communities and the country as a whole.
Williams further added that the village movement is now known because of the sacrifices of those slaves and indentured servants who were determined to build. President of the Victoria Village Day Organization, Anthony Samuels, detailed some of the activities that are planned for the observances.
So we have sports games, we will be running some games. The day after the activity also, after the celebration, we will continue by making it a month celebration whereby we will promote sports. And leading up, we already started by having some cricket games to promote the event. And also we will be reaching out into the community to have inter-block football to bring the community together, and even communities that are in close vicinity have been invited.
Samuel said those are just a few of the activities that have been confirmed so far. Present at the launch were other members of the planning committee from both the village and government side, who's a partner in these observances. For Globespan 24x7 News, this is Kingsley Bryan.
A spanking new two-story facility was officially handed over to the St. Francis Community Developers SFCD of the East Berbice Quarantine on Thursday, which will house an agro-processing and skills training center. This state-of-the-art project, founded by the Japanese government, forms part of the St. Francis flagship venture in education empowerment and sustainability project Rescue, reforming education skills and capacity for ultimate empowerment. Rescue also enables collaborating partners, beneficiaries, at-risk youths, and disadvantaged families to have a foundation for educational and financial security through direct participation in skills training. During the handing over ceremony this morning at the headquarters in Port Morant, Chief Executive Officer and President of the SFCD, Alex Foster, disclosed that in February of 2018, the government of Japan, through its grant assistance for grassroots human security projects, made available over $19 million for the construction of the center. He said the goal is to support the largest source of employment for residents in the region by offering technical support, equipment, and modern techniques to solve traditional challenges, opportunities for youth participation, while offering other avenues of income through the creation of byproducts. Foster's also noted that the initiative would support the government of Ghana's diversification program for residents. We are now on Twitter and Instagram, hashtag Globespan24x7. Do follow us and spread the word. Coming up on the other side of the break with Whitney Prasad at our New York studio, Jamaican midfielder killed in stabbing incident and $5 million threatened by toxic air in New Delhi. Stay tuned.
To keep up with breaking news in Guyana, the rest of the Caribbean, and on the international scene, like, follow, and subscribe to Globespan 24x7's Facebook and YouTube news page. Join the conversation, get live news on the go, and news and details right here on Globespan 24x7 News.
Travelspan GT is a proud sponsor of Globespan 24x7 News. Here are some exciting news from Travelspan GT. Fares have dropped for next year, starting January 20 to August. American Airlines has cheap fares on non-stop flights to New York. Flights are as low as $306 one way and $540 round trip, all tax included. Take advantage of these cheap fares on American Airlines non-stop flights to New York. Travelspan has also cheap fares to Miami, Toronto, Canada, and the Caribbean. Call Travelspan GT in Georgetown at 227-1701, that's 227-1701, or in Rose Hall, call 337-4298, and New Amsterdam at 333-6230. That call Travelspan GT in Georgetown at 227-1701, that's 227-1701,
or in Rose Hall, call 337-4287.
And in New Amsterdam at 333-6230.
Thanks for staying with us. Thank you, Samuel. And now for a look at the news and details in the diaspora. Guyana has joined its Caribbean counterparts, signing on to the Caribbean Water and Wastewater Association's Regional Strategic Action Plan, which will see the implementation of an advanced plan for building successful climate resilience in the water sector. The nation was represented by the Managing Director of Guyana Water Inc., Dr. Richard Van West Charles. The meeting presented a unique platform for representatives of Caribbean water ministries to discuss, strategize, and most importantly, find solutions to the problems faced by the water sector in the region. Water resource management in the Caribbean has always been faced with challenges such as poor distribution, aging infrastructure, high leakage rate, and the inability of water utility companies to be financially sustainable. Among many others, the meeting sought to find collective solutions. The CWWA's 15th High-Level Forum of Caribbean Ministers with Responsibility for Water attracted agencies such as the Inter-American Development Bank, the Caribbean Development Bank, the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, United Nations Environment Program, and the Pan American Health Organization. Meanwhile, Director of the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturing Association, Ryan Lewis, said that the private sector is failing to play a viable role in driving the nation's economy. Lewis spoke yesterday at a post-budget panel discussion held in Port of Spain. He said there needs to be new innovative jobs driven by technology and geared towards improving and sustaining the economy. He said manufacturing is 6% of the country's gross domestic product and it is the country's future. Lewis warned that Trinidad and Tobago has been losing its competitiveness and will no longer be the business capital of the region if it continues along this road. He added that the world is at the stage of the fourth industrial revolution and manufacturing practices must be reflected by this era of global development. An international women's midfielder from Jamaica has succumbed to injuries following a stabbing incident in the capital city, Kingston. Police reported that a 20-year-old Terranian Clark was pronounced dead in the hospital. Officers said that the student died after a dispute over a mobile phone at about 8:50 p.m. local time on Thursday. A woman has been arrested, and Clark, who played for the Waterhouse FC, scored on her international debut in September 12-1 win over Cuba in the Olympic qualifiers. In a statement to the BBC Sport, Jamaica Football Federal Association President Michael Ricketts said that the JFF is deeply saddened by the untimely passing of Clark. He said that she was someone who showed much promise, not just as a player, but as a person as well. The U.S. presidential hopeful Elizabeth Warren has given the American people details of funding for her health care plan, which is expected to cost the federal government some $20.5 trillion over the next 10 years. Warren said the Medicare for All plan is not going to raise taxes by even a penny for ordinary Americans, but will be largely paid for by businesses and the wealthy. She outlined that her plan would not spend any more money overall than is being spent now, but the share spent by the federal government would increase $20.5 trillion. It would mandate that employers pay the government the same amount that they currently contribute for private health care insurance for their employee. According to her campaign, the current U.S. health system will cost $52 trillion over the next decade. Economists have estimated Medicare for All's cost at between $13.5 trillion to $34 trillion in the same time frame. And Toronto District has said that repair backlog at the District School Board now stands at $3.5 billion and is projected to rise to $5.2 billion by 2023 without more provincial funding. Chairman of the board, Robin Pickley, said the TDSB has the money to address safety issues and emergency repairs, but not much more. The chair stressed that school buildings are safe. The board gets almost $300 million a year for repairs, but said the budget does not allow for updating and preventative maintenance. Across the province, the school repair backlog was pegged at $15.9 billion in 2017. And police in the United Kingdom has said that a toddler has died after falling from a block of flats in Tottenham, North London. The child, who was reportedly 8 months, fell from the Stellar House just off Tottenham High Road on Thursday morning and was immediately taken to the hospital by paramedics, where he was pronounced dead an hour later. The council, which manages the block of flats, said a full investigation would be carried out. Meanwhile, a neighbor claimed the toddler's mother had been complaining to the council about a faulty handle for nearly 2 months now, although the authority has not commented on the claim. Formal identification and a post-mortem examination will take place in due course. The Metropolitan Police has launched an investigation and is treating the death as unexplained. Officials said that 5 million masks are being distributed at schools in India's capital, Delhi, after pollution made the air so toxic. Officials were forced to declare a public health emergency. The Supreme Court mandated panel imposed several restrictions in the city and 2 neighboring states as air quality deteriorated to severe levels. Reports are that dangerous particles level in the air are about 20 times the WHO maximum. Meanwhile, the city schools have been closed until next Tuesday. All construction has been halted for a week and fireworks have been banned. From Monday, the city will introduce a temporary scheme so that only cars with odd or even numbered license plates can drive on given days in a bid to cut traffic pollution. Delhi's chief minister said the city had been turned into a gas chamber. And meteorologists in East Africa says country in the area is expecting more heavy rain on Saturday, worsening the problems caused by flooding in the country, especially Somalia. It has already been called the worst flooding in a lifetime by Action Against Hunger Regional Director. Some 2,073 Somalians have had to leave their homes, according to the International Rescue Committee. Parts of Kenya and South Sudan have also been hit by the flooding. More than 600,000 people have been forced to leave their homes in South Sudan, the IRC says. On Wednesday, South Sudan's president declared a state of emergency. And that has ended regional and international news. Let's turn our attention to tech news with Kumar Doshi. Whitney Prasad saying good evening and stay tuned for more news to come.
Thank you, Whitney. Namaste, salam and good day to everyone. This is TechBeat on Globespan 24x7. Today, let's look at Bluetooth technology. Bluetooth is a wireless technology standard for exchanging data between fixed and mobile devices over short distances using short wavelength UHF or ultra-high frequency radio waves in the industrial, scientific and medical radio bands from 2.4 to 2.485 GHz and building personal area networks. It allows a person to have a phone conversation via handset, use a wireless mouse and synchronize information from a mobile phone to a PC, all using the same core system. Bluetooth is managed by the Bluetooth Special Interest Group, which has more than 35,000 member companies in the areas of telecommunication, computing, networking, and consumer electronics. There are 5 main versions of Bluetooth so far. Bluetooth 1.0 had deployment issues that kept it from gaining quick ground. Bluetooth 1.2 and 1.3 had improvements in which Bluetooth 1.0 had failed, such as reliability, power usage, etc. Bluetooth 2.0 increased the data rate from 1 Mbps to 3 Mbps, and interference handling was improved. And it also used less power. Bluetooth 2.1 made pairing between two devices faster. Bluetooth 3 provided theoretical data transfer speeds of up to 24 megabits per second. Bluetooth 4 uses low energy technology, allowing manufacturers to include Bluetooth in small battery operated devices, and also improves power efficiency. Bluetooth 5 is the latest version of Bluetooth wireless communication standard. Its speed is typically up to 48 megabits per second. It can be connected up to a distance of 300 meters or 980.
TravelSpan is a proud sponsor of Globespan 24x7 News. TravelSpan has some cheap fares to Guyana on American Airlines flights. Fly from January for $234 one-way and $512 round-trip. Take advantage of these cheap fares on American non-stop flights from JFK to Guyana. That's non-stop flights from JFK to Guyana starting as low as $234 one-way and $512 round-trip. And also has the cheapest fares for Christmas that starts as low as $799 round-trip. TravelSpan celebrating 25 years in business with over 10 offices to serve you. Call 718-845-0437. That's 718-845-0437. Or book online at travelspan.com. Book early and save.
Thanks, Kumar. We'll now take a look at our bridge reports. Now for a look at what's happening in the world of sport with Kingsley Bryan.
Thanks. Now here's a look at the sports news in detail. The National Gymnasium will be the venue for some pulsating boxing as the much anticipated Terence Alley National Open Boxing Tournament commences tonight and runs until Sunday. 3 overseas-based boxers are scheduled to compete. Ashir Al-Azim and Stephen Chan are the 2 boxers from the USA, and each night is scheduled to start at 19 hours. Their participation will mark the first time in over 5 years that overseas-based fighters have entered the National Open with the intention of claiming a place on the national team to participate in the Caribbean Championships slated for Trinidad from December 4 to 9. Boxers from across Guyana are expected to match gloves over the next 3 days, and at the end, the national team will be selected. Caribbean bantamweight champion Kevin Alicock will box in the featured bout of the championship. Al-Azim's grandfather, D1 Fighting Raja Singh, fought for British Guyana and beat Freddie the Kid Simmons for the vacant lightweight title. And we'll tell you that the last batch of West Indies players left the Caribbean on Tuesday to join their teammates in India ahead of the limited over series against Afghanistan set to bowl off next week. Players and management began leaving last Sunday for the tour. That includes 3 T20 internationals, 3 one-day internationals, and a one-off test. And the entire squad is expected to be assembled in the northern city of Lucknow by today. Test players like off-spinning all-rounder Rakeem Cornwall will join the side later next month after representing his native Leeward Islands Hurricanes in the regional Super 50, with the test set to bowl off November 27. The Super 50 runs from November 6 to December 1 in Trinidad and St. Kitts. West Indies will face a tough challenge against the Afghans, especially with the series being played on the subcontinent home turf. The Caribbean side beat their hosts in their last meeting during the International Cricket Council World Cup in England earlier this year. But it was only the second time in 6 ODIs they had registered a win over their opponents. Afghanistan drew a 3-match series in the Caribbean 2 years ago, but then twice trounced the Windies during the ICC World Cup qualifiers in Zimbabwe last year. West Indies have been more dominant in the T20 format, however, beating Afghanistan in 3 of 4 matches. The 2 sides have never met in a test. The tourists will play a warm-up match next Tuesday before facing Afghanistan in the opening one-day international 2 days later. And we'll tell you that defending champion Elena Svitolina maintained her 100% record at the WTA Finals in China with a hard-fought win over American alternate Sophia Kenin. Svitolina took her 6th match point to win 7-5, 7-6, 12-10 in after Kenin had a chance to serve out each set. The Ukrainian was already assured of a semi-final spot and plays Swiss 7th seed Belinda Bencic on Saturday. Kenin, 20 years old, replaced the injured Bianca Andreescu on Thursday and had no chance of progressing to the last 4. After also earning straight set wins over Romanian 5th seed Simona Halep and 2nd seed Karolina Pliskova of the Czech Republic, Svitolina had to show her fighting qualities to edge past Kenin in just over 2 hours. Later on Friday, Wimbledon champion Halep plays Pliskova, with the winner securing a place in the other semi-final against Australian world number 1 Ashley Barty. The winners will meet in the final in Shenzhen on Sunday at 11 hours 30. And that has brought us to the end of sporting news for today. Join us on Monday as we continue to provide you action on what's happening in the sporting arena.
And that has brought us to the end of today's news. Before you go, here's a recap of our major headlines. APNU+AFC confident of winning 36 seats in 2020 general elections. BLAIRMONT workers stage another protest calling for pay increases. Japanese-funded agro-processing center commissioned in Region 6. Agro-tourism expo shines new light on Guyana's potential in agriculture. And Victoria Village set to observe 180th anniversary in grand style. Thanks for watching Globespan 24/7 News. On behalf of myself, Samuel Suknand, and the news and technical team, until next time, do have a pleasant rest of the evening. Goodbye for now.